So in today's video, I'm going to discuss about a concept known as the I-10 factor. So just like in scientometrics, we have already discussed the concept about citations, about H index, about number of citations per paper and so on. Now Google Scholar has propounded a metric known as the I-10. And if you set up an account in Google Scholar, you can go and see your I-10. And this is basically the number of papers which are cited 10 times or more. So again, why is the I-10 useful? Now this is something which some faculty at an institution wanted to know about how to use the I-10 compare it with the H index. So let us look at some of the aspects of I-10, but before I do that, I would just like to recapitulate on some of the concepts behind citations. So like I mentioned in a previous video, the first thing we do as researchers is that we write papers. Now hopefully these papers, as they get published in journals and are deposited on web pages of the institutions which are publishing papers and so on, they get referenced by some different researchers when they are doing their research. So in that case, these papers are supposed to pick up something known as citations, or these papers are being cited by somebody else in their publication. Now sometimes you yourself may cite a paper, and that is known as a self-citation. So both these things do take place, and sometimes you need to self-cite because you may have done some prior work and your current work may be an extension of this particular work, so you have cited your previous paper. Now, for a particular researcher, if we take the total number of citations, that is sometimes used as a metric to quantify this particular researcher, or it may be an institution or a state or a country. So this is the total number of citations. Now, if we divide this total number of citations by the number of publications, then we get something known as citation per paper. And this is also a factor which is used by some people. So citation per paper can be calculated for either a person or a department or an institution or a country or a continent or any other system that you can think of. Now, of course, we already discussed that Hirsch propounded something known as the H index, and the H index was something which can be calculated, and many databases such as Google Scholar let you calculate this H index. So you can refer to my previous video about H index. Now, one of the reasons for selecting the I-10 is that if you have 10 or more citations for a given paper, then you are in the top 24% of the most cited papers in the world. So that's not a bad place to be in terms of being in the top 24% of the most cited people in the world. So therefore, if a paper has garnered 10 citations or more, I could say that the paper has made some impact in the field. And if we bother to remove the self citations, then this metric becomes even more useful in terms of gauging the impact of the work. Now, where Google Scholar's I-10 scores compared to H index is in the concept of scientific parsimony. So let me just explain this concept to you. So scientific parsimony basically means that we should follow a route which is the least complex when we do most of our scientific problems. And so if you see the different metrics which have been proposed in scientometrics, the H index, though very good, is somewhat complicated. And I think the I-10 is something which is very simple in that it just lets you look at the papers which are cited more than 10 times. Whereas H index is the H papers, or H is a value such that H papers are cited at least H times. So if a person has 17 papers which are cited at least 17 times, then his or her H index is 17. So again, it's a question of choice as to which metric to use, but of course I10 comes out useful in terms of parsimony because it is a very simple index, and in science we always want to use something which is very simple. Now some more interesting statistics can be there for you. That is that if you look at 100 citations, only 2% of the papers are cited more than 100 times. So of course you could create a metric where you could look at the papers which are cited more than 100 times, and these would be the really exceptional papers published in a field. But of course, whenever we are looking at a metric such as I10 or H or number of citations, you should understand that it is biased towards people who have been in the business for a long time. So in that sense, the citation per paper is a useful value which does not get biased by the number of papers one has published, because typically as one publishes more and more papers, the total number of citation goes up, the H index goes up, and even the I10 would go up. So in some sense, these metrics not only measure the productivity of the person, but also the fact that how long these people have been in the research business till now. Now, what are some of the things we can do to increase our I10 index? Well, as I discussed in some previous videos, the main thing you can do is write a very good and persuasive paper which has a good impact on the field. And one of the things I find useful in that is to write a good literature survey. So again, when you are writing a good literature survey, try to cover your field very well. And that is a fact which is appreciated by all the scholars in the field, because whenever they see a good literature survey, then they feel a strong desire to cite that paper because they have learned a lot from that particular literature survey. So now many times the papers are very complicated documents and people may or may not read the full paper. But what they would typically do is they would read the introduction very carefully, particularly if the introduction is of use to them. And in that sense, you will find that if you have written a very good introduction with a lot of detail, maybe you have made some diagrams summarizing the different aspects of the research, then those type of papers tend to get cited a lot. The second aspect is, if you are talking of the concept of parsimony, which is basically trying to do less in science or trying to get the theory which is the most simple, I would say as far as research citations are concerned and citing references in your paper, that's not a place where you should be parsimonious. So as far as citing papers are concerned, one should not be parsimonious in citing, and one should be quite liberal and verbose in terms of citing papers. So you should cite as many papers as possible which are in the relevant context of the journal, because again this also helps to further popularize your work and it can help your paper be known to more people. Now one more thing, we can say that all these particular metrics, they have an issue in terms of something known as the Matthew phenomena. So this Matthew phenomena happens because typically in science, which is a psychosociological construct, if a person has been in the business for a long time, he or she tends to get cited more. So this is coming from the biblical story of Matthew, where there is a saying, and I would paraphrase it, that he who has much shall receive more, and he who has less shall have whatever he has taken from him. So this rather dire prediction essentially says that if somebody has accumulated a good number of citations or is an established scholar in the field, he or she tends to garner more and more citations and becomes more established, leading to a general skewness and lack of symmetry in the field of researchers. So this is something to keep in mind, that this is a tendency in science, because after all science is populated by humans and humans are subjected to all the sociological and psychological factors which impacts primates in general. And therefore one of the ways to curtail this Matthew phenomena is to be very cautious when citing papers, and to cite papers which are relevant to the field and which have actually made a good contribution to the field rather than only going by the established nature of the scientist writing the paper and by the fact that the papers being cited may actually be the papers which have been cited a lot. So again, if you generally search something in Google Scholar, it tends to rank those things by citations. So again, you need to keep that in mind, that you need to dig down into the papers which are brought to you by these databases and go and look at exactly the papers which are important and relevant to your field, and do not simply cite papers because they have been cited a lot, and that leads to a further skewness of the particular problem in terms of scientists and citation. So these are some concepts I had today on terms of the I10 factor, and some more concepts which are there in scientometrics. So again, as I mentioned in my videos before, I don't think scientometrics is a very good tool to measure different people. The best use of scientometrics is to measure yourself with regard to your previous performance, or to measure an institution or a country with respect to its previous performance. Because as soon as you start getting obsessed with scientometrics, then complexities come in terms of psychological and sociological problems which you get into, because you have now turned science into a socio-psychological problem. So these are some thoughts I had today on the concept of I10, and I hope you enjoyed my video today. And please stay tuned to my channel for further videos on topics related to science and research. Thank you very much.